Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to episode number 448 of NoDQ&A Video right here on NoDQ.com, the YouTube channel, and NoDQ&A Video's affiliate, RingsideNews.com. Got your questions here from spring.me/Aaron Rift. Wrestlemania 30 is now just a week away, 1 week away from the big event and the weekend that goes with it. So let's get right down to your questions here. First one today comes from Dave451985. Who do you think will be Sting's first WWE opponent, and when will it happen? Well, I thought initially that if Sting was going to come into WWE, that it would be best to have him go into the Hall of Fame and then face The Undertaker at WrestleMania and challenge the streak. But now with the situation where Sting is rumored to be coming in and will possibly debut with the next WrestleMania a year away, I think that that's just too long to go without having Sting wrestle. If he comes in for WrestleMania 30 as a surprise, I think that you will want to strike the iron when it's hot. People will want to see Sting get in the ring and have a match. And obviously, if you're going to do Sting versus Undertaker, you're best holding off on that until WrestleMania. So I think that if Sting is going to come in the near future, that you should put him in the ring. And you could do a few dream matches with Sting. One idea, and this is just speculation on my part, is that at WrestleMania in the main event, you have Triple H interfering in the Daniel Bryan match with Batista and Randy Orton, and you can have the lights go out, and they come back on, and Sting is in the ring, and Sting takes out Triple H, and that leads to Daniel Bryan winning the WWE title. And you could have a Sting versus Triple H match to kick off Sting's run in WWE. And then you could put in Sting with a few more people, maybe have him face Randy Orton or even John Cena. And then at WrestleMania, you can have Sting wrestle one final match against Undertaker. So, I mean, that's one thing you could do with Sting. I would put him in there with a top heel. And arguably the top heel at this point is Triple H. So we'll see what happens with Sting, and at this point it's still an if. It's not even a guarantee that he will be at WrestleMania. WWE has kept quiet about it. There hasn't really been a lot of buzz about Sting, and maybe that's done by design, so people will be more surprised if and when he does show up. All right, this next one comes from Donnie1393. Hey Aaron, I was wondering if Triple H and Steph got a divorce, what would be the effects of that on the business? Thanks. Well, obviously, if that was to happen, it would have a lot of consequences. There would be a huge shakeup in the wrestling industry if there was a divorce. I mean, no question. I mean, Triple H and Stephanie are sharing power. They have a family together. So there would definitely be some fireworks. And I'm guessing that if they got a divorce, somebody would be ousted. Somebody would be gone from power. I mean, I think it would be very difficult for the two of them to have a divorce and then be able to work together. I think that, as Vince or Triple H would put it, that would be bad for business. You don't want to mix personal feelings with business. So I think that one of them at least would be out of the picture if there was a divorce. But I think that the fact that they have a family together, it's probably unlikely that they have a divorce. I don't think that Vince would have gone along with it. I don't think Stephanie would have gone through with it if she really didn't feel that it was something that was going to last. So, I mean, it's lasted all this time now. Triple H is part of the family. He's part of the family business. And even if they have personal issues, one would think that they would work them out and, keep it low key and just stick together, if not for each other, then for the business that they both love. All right, this next one comes from Miss Daddy YP. Hey Aaron, longtime viewer, but first time asking. With Lita announcing that Trish Stratus will induct her into the Hall of Fame, don't you think it would be better if AJ Lee inducted her? Please answer in video, and also I love the show. Keep up the good work. I am perfectly fine with Trish Stratus being the one to induct Lita. Last year at the Hall of Fame, Trish went in and Lita inducted her, and I think it's kind of cool that Trish is returning the favor and doing the induction for Lita. The two of them go together like peanut butter and jelly. Trish Stratus and Lita came into WWE around the same time, and they both had a very similar run at the top of the Divas division. Their careers went parallel, and both of them left the company around the same time. And both of them had a tremendous amount of success, and they were best friends in storyline, and other times they were bitter rivals. So I think it's very fitting for the two of them to induct each other into the Hall of Fame. And yes, AJ would have been cool because she was influenced by Lita, and she's a current diva, but I still think Trish is your best option, and I'm perfectly cool with it. All right, this next one comes from GNashed5. Hey Aaron, do you think that guys like Gangrel and Vampiro would have been bigger if they worked in this era, given how successful the Wyatt family has been? Please answer in video. Honestly, I don't really think that the era matters all that much. And the thing about Gangrel is he was a good fit for the Attitude Era. His character worked with that period. I don't know if his character would have done well now, although I'm not sure if Gangrel said this or not. Actually, I think it was Kevin Thorne. He said that he felt that if he'd come in a few years later in WWE, that he would have gone more over because of the success of the Twilight series, and when vampires were popular, and there was all these TV shows about vampires, and Kevin Thorne felt that he just came in too soon with that gimmick. Maybe if Gangrel came in a couple years ago, he would have had greater success because of that. I mean, it's really hard to tell, but I think that Gangrel worked because he was in the Attitude Era, and the character just worked with that period. And same thing with Vampiro. I mean, I think that maybe he could have had success in WWE, but I think that it wasn't such a big deal that Vampiro was around during the Monday Night War period. I don't know if Vampiro would have worked out in today's WWE. All right, this next one comes from Lewis D3. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on main event this week? I thought it was a solid show, plus Dolph Ziggler has proved many times before that he deserves to have a higher spot on the card, and after his performances in those matches, it's clear he deserves better. I enjoyed main event, and in general, I think that main event has been entertaining the last couple weeks. Now that it's part of WWE Network, WWE is trying to pay more attention to it and make it a bigger deal. And the matches are bigger and more high profile. So I'm glad that main event's getting more attention, and it's not just your random show with a low card match. Dolph Ziggler, it was a last minute thing because Christian was originally supposed to be in the match, and I guess he reportedly suffered a concussion, so they pulled him from it. And they did this match where Dolph Ziggler won the title shot and then went on to face Big E and lost, but he had to wrestle twice, so Big E had that advantage. So I don't really think it was a burial of Dolph Ziggler. I mean, they just had to come up with something because of the situation with Christian. And yeah, I mean, he definitely deserves better, and the fans will let WWE know that time and time again. And this leads to the next question here from Jondrix Romano. Hey Aaron, do you think Dolph Ziggler would get a push after WrestleMania? Well, I think that the post-Raw crowd could definitely influence WWE, and Dolph Ziggler's been getting big reactions in some of the recent cities that Raw's been held in, and Elimination Chamber. I think that if the crowd goes crazy for Dolph Ziggler, maybe WWE will take a second look at him, but they already know that he's over with a vocal group of fans. A lot of internet fans still support Dolph Ziggler and want to see him get pushed. And he had the world title run, and then he got injured. He had the concussion, and then he lost the push and never really regained the momentum that he had. So I would hope that WWE gives him another opportunity, and I think he'll have a decent shot after WrestleMania once Undertaker is gone, and they need to focus on some of the younger talent again. I think maybe they'll give him another shot. All right, this next one comes from the Wrestling God. Hey Aaron, with The Rock coming back next year for WrestleMania 31, would you like to see him as a heel? Please answer in video. Thanks. Well, I would love to see him as a heel. I've always enjoyed The Rock as a heel. I loved the Hollywood Rock persona when he came back and did the sing-alongs and the Rock concert where he insulted Sacramento. I mean, that was one of the best heel promos of all time, in my opinion. But realistically, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that The Rock is at a stage of his career where he is becoming a legend. You know, he's not a current star anymore. He's not an active performer. He is a guy who is a special attraction who comes in every once in a while, and when he does come back, people are going to cheer him because they haven't seen him in a long time. So I don't see them having him come back and being a heel, although if you know, The Rock came back and faced Undertaker, for example, he could pull off the heel role for that match, and you know, I think fans would cheer for the Undertaker over The Rock, but that's just my gut feeling on it. So you know, they could possibly make him a heel against the right opponent, but you know, certainly against somebody like John Cena, Rock's not gonna get booed. All right, final question today from Chris Mace 39628. Please answer in video. Do you think Bray Wyatt and John Cena will continue to feud after WrestleMania, or will it be a one and done? It's certainly a possibility that the feud will continue. We've seen it before where you have a WrestleMania match and then at Extreme Rules you have a WrestleMania rematch. Especially if there's a disputed finish at WrestleMania. Traditionally, I prefer WrestleMania to be the end of a feud, and then you start off a new feud after WrestleMania. I don't like the fact that WrestleMania is the beginning of a feud and then it continues after WrestleMania. That's just my personal taste. But you know, if Bray Wyatt beats John Cena, I could definitely see there being a rematch and John Cena getting his win back. Then again, I could also see John Cena beating Bray Wyatt clean, decisively, and you know, they have a rematch because the creative team doesn't know what else to do. So you know, they'll just book a rematch, and it won't make any sense because John Cena already beat him. So why do we need to see the match again? So I could see it going either way. But you know, I think that in all likelihood, John Cena will be moving on back into the world title picture sooner than later. So if it does continue after WrestleMania, I don't think it'll be for long. Alright, that'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW if you're not subscribed already. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on Facebook and Twitter. And I will see you guys next week for NoDQ&A video and my final thoughts on WrestleMania. So see you then.